What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about Megan Thee Stallion's performance that she did on SNL for her hit song Savage. And during this performance, she made a political statement. Really a few political statements, but ultimately it just comes together to make one big political statement. And I just want to talk about that and discuss that. So here we go. So first, I want to say that I applaud Megan for being brave enough to use her platform to make a political statement. Everybody ain't doing that. And a lot of times when it's time to really speak on something, a lot of people are MIA, particularly a lot of performers who do have strong opinions about things are MIA. Lady Gaga. Got all the smoke for Obama, but none for Trump. That's another video though. So that being said, I do applaud Megan for being able to be brave enough to use her platform to make a political statement like this. And I'm guessing that her personal situation, you know, with the shooting and whatnot, and the Breonna Taylor situation, you know, inspired and compelled her to make this political statement. Nevertheless, I have some thoughts and opinions that I would like to share with you all. So here we go. All right. So Megan is performing her song Savage. I was about to say her song Stallion. But she was performing her song Savage on Saturday Night Live, right? SNL. And I'll say nice performance, nice scenery, but you'll notice in the back, like it's kind of like this, like black and white zebra scheme thing going on. Cool, fine, awesome, whatever. And in the back, you notice that there is some, like there's messages being projected, and they're like the messages are scrolling, and you're seeing different messages here and there, And one of the messages that I remember seeing was like something like protect black women, right? So while she was performing her song Savage, those messages were being displayed. Then it got to a point where the song stopped, and then Megan started to display some more overt messages. And the first one um, and the first message that she sent was one with Malcolm X. And it was, that famous quote that Malcolm X made back in the 60s, saying, the most unprotected, neglected person in America is the black woman. Something to that effect. I may not have the quote exactly correct, uh, but something to that effect, right? And, that's a great message to transmit, definitely. Although I'm a little tired of hearing this quote and this message, and I've mentioned this a few times, about at least twice already. I'm tired of hearing this message. And I'm tired of hearing this message because it's like, okay, all right, we have established that. Malcolm X said that back in the 60s. All right, what's next? And I just don't feel like, I feel like a lot of people are just a bit behind, for a lack of a better word, a bit slow in getting to this message. Like, okay, we've been knew this already, right? Um, so yeah, I'm a little tired of hearing that. Also, like, has she officially pressed charges against Tory Lanez yet? Because if she hasn't, then she's part of the problem too. As I mentioned in the previous video, that low-key, I think that Megan is a predator protector. And I think that needs to be called out too. You can't go around talking about, black women are unprotected, but then contributing to black women being unprotected, right? Including yourself. So it's like, and that's the thing too. I'm probably going to go off on a bit of a tangent, but I'm going to make this quick. Because on one hand, people are talking about, oh, yeah, that Breonna Taylor, the Breonna Taylor situation, that's messed up, you know, right? And then on the other hand, folks are making, jokes about the situation with Megan Thee Stallion. People are saying black women are unprotected, then laughing and making jokes about a black woman being a victim of violence. Then she transmitted another message from Malcolm X, which was like, who taught you to hate the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate yourself? And I think that's a great message. And, you know, I don't disagree with that message, but it seems a bit out of place to me personally, because it seems like the message is supposed to revolve around like violence, against black people, protecting black people and supporting black people, you know, and making sure that black people don't experience violence. So this message, while it is a great message, it does just seem a bit out of place, you know. Perhaps maybe I'm missing something. I know pretty sure someone's going to come through and want to defend this to the fullest, and that's okay. That's fine. But, it's not that I disagree with the message. I just feel like it's a bit out of place. Also, she goes on to use a soundbite from the activist Tamika Mallory. So this for me, I don't know. This for me, I don't. Here's my issue with this particular section of it, right? I feel like this was something that Megan should have said herself. And I feel like this, I don't know, I just feel like this, I think Megan was not being as brave as she could in this particular section of her political statement. And I feel like she should have said this. Now, with Malcolm X, I'll let that slide because, that's Malcolm X's, iconic quote, as well as his other iconic quotes. And it can also just be saying, paying homage to Malcolm X. That's great. So I don't really have an issue with that particular soundbite. I do have an issue with this particular soundbite. Not that I disagree with what Tamika Mallory says, but more so I disagree with Megan Thee Stallion using Tamika Mallory to deliver this message versus Megan Thee Stallion delivering this message herself, like she goes on to do later in the performance where she delivers some other messages herself. And, this could put a target on Tamika Mallory's back. Granted, her soundbite was out there already, true, but I personally didn't know about this soundbite until this performance. So I'm pretty sure there were some other people who were like, oh, I didn't know about that. But, perhaps on the other hand, maybe this could get, Tamika Mallory some, more clout, for lack of a better word, more popularity, perhaps. But for this particular section bothered me. Am I the only one who felt that way? This particular section bothered me. And as well, like the message is, like Megan is using this message that Tamika said to call out Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. I think that may be a big part of it. What's bothering me, like, you're calling out somebody, but you're using someone else to call out somebody versus just calling them out yourself. You know, it's like low key kind of hiding behind somebody and using someone else to deliver your message in this particular section. And as well, I do think that Daniel Cameron, while I do agree with what Tamika Mallory said, I do think that Daniel is somewhat of an easy target. To be fair, I do think he's somewhat of an easy target. Um, I can understand people's animosity towards him, and I'm not really trying to defend him, but I'm just saying. And also, even more so, considering that we are about to have a presidential election in about a month, more or less, why not call on or call out Donald Trump, current president Donald Trump, right? And um, hopeful presidential candidate Joe Biden, right? In that order. They are in a position to actually do something about the problem, and as well, they're campaigning and they're wanting black voters and black support. But the thing is, the Republicans know that they don't really get black support, so it's not really anything to be advocating. Well, to try and sway black people to vote for them. And Democrats, they tend to get black people support almost regardless of anything. So again, it's not really much to sway people. Don't really feel the need to sway black people and actually deliver on anything. Another story for another day. But back to this story. All right. Then Megan gets on the mic herself, finally, and she makes a few statements. One of the first statements she makes is, we need to protect our black women. We need to love our black women. Because at the end of the day, we need our black women. And I agree. I definitely do not disagree with that message. I think that black women as a collective definitely deserve and need protection and love. And, you know, the black community especially needs black women. I did notice she did seem a little nervous or perhaps slightly affected by her strong emotions when she was delivering that part of the message. And that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to point that out, though. Yeah. I suppose it sort of shows that, this message, especially is a message that really speaks to her. A message that really she feels really strongly about. For obvious reasons, of course. Right? And of course, she made sure to include black men in this as well, with the lines, we need to protect our black men. That line, I'm like, who's exactly is doing the protecting when it comes to black men? Or who is supposed to? And that really just brings me into, like, who is this political message, like, directed at? Is it directed at black people, the black community, non-black people, both? Just wondering. But yeah, like, we need to protect our black men. And she's saying "our," so I'm assuming this is being directed toward the black community. But then again, I could see her directing this towards folks outside of the community as well. So there's a problem as well. Like, okay, who's this political message being directed toward exactly? Like, who is the audience that's supposed to receive this message? But nevertheless, so she says we need to protect our black men. And You know, that, because here's my problem with that a little bit. It's just that it sort of helps just perpetuate this like victim narrative that seems to be following black men, especially lately. Black men being a victim of police brutality, black men being, you know, killed. Um, you know, um, that situation where that female basketball player was advocating for that man who she later went on to marry for like years. Basically the helpless victim damsel in distress narrative that seems to be following black men as of late. Right. So yeah, but I can let this slide, okay? And she goes on to say, and you know, so we need to protect our black men and stand up for our black men. So again, who is this message being directed toward exactly? You know, black women, or other black men, or non-black people? Who is that being directed toward? You know, because I do see when it comes to black women doing all they can to protect black men, even black men who should not be protected, Megan. So again, who is this being directed toward? You know. So again, we need to protect our black men and stand up for our black men, because at the end of the day, we tired of seeing hashtags of our black men. You know, are we tired of seeing hashtags for our black women too? You know, but really, those hashtags don't even get as popular though. As quiet as it's kept, which goes on to further prove the statement that Malcolm X made in the '60s. So again, we know this already. What's next, y'all? What's next? All right. So, but yeah, like, who is she speaking to here? You know, just wondering, just wondering. And I feel like she possibly may have thrown that part in her message to make the message more palatable, specifically to black men, so that she wouldn't be dismissed or accused of being, anti-black male or not caring about black men, you know, accused of being self-serving, etc. Right? Even though there are black men in the media who almost always advocate specifically for black male causes, you know. Um, but of course, black male causes are considered black community causes, while black female causes are just considered black female causes. They're not considered black community causes. Right. So this just shows me that, I think, I don't know, I feel like Megan, she may be trying, but I think she is still kind of in that mode where she still wants to, or feel like she wants to protect black men, or feel obligated to protect black men in some shape or form or whatever. You know, that's that same mammy spirit that got her caught up with Tory Lanez and the dude she was with a while ago, when she was talking about them, fighting each other and the police showing up. That's that same spirit. Like, oh, I gotta protect the black king. Yes, I do. It's a beautiful thing when you protect your black king. Protect your black king from the rain and the pain, baby. But I'm gonna need Megan to make her next song, and I need it to be titled Mammy No More. So I'm gonna need her to be singing or rapping about I'm a mammy no more. I'm out the door. Don't worry. This mammy is gone for sure. I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna need Megan to do that. So back to the video, okay? So she makes those political statements in her performance. And I feel like she should have ended on that note. You know, ended the performance with her political statements, not going back to performing savage and dancing sexually provocatively. you know, I just feel like it takes away from the seriousness. It undermines the urgency and the message. You know, and as well, I really hate to go into respectability politics, but I feel like I'm going to have to go there though. I feel like perhaps maybe they should have been dressed a little better as well. And if you're going to deliver this particular message, I don't know. I feel like you're delivering a message and you're using other black women in your performance to deliver that message, or at least other women. I think there were black women, but they were dressed, kind of a little provocative, which would be fine in other cases, especially, doing performances in the music industry. But in this particular situation, I feel like, I don't know, it may end up, like, people may end up associating black women with that particular imagery, right? As being, very sexual, sexualized, hypersexual, what have you. And you're saying protect black women, and when people think about protecting black women, like, this image shouldn't pop into their mind. you know, I know I'm going to offend some people, but I'm just going to say it. A more respectable image should pop into your mind when you're thinking of black women and protecting black women. Again, not that Megan Thee Stallion is just unrespectable totally, but I'm just saying, like, the imagery for me wasn't the best that it could be. I'll just leave it at that. But overall, I support Megan. I support her message, and I commend her for having the bravery to make a political statement like this. You know, and perhaps some things could have been done a little bit better. Perhaps, maybe, yes, but nevertheless, you know, Megan, had the mic, had the platform, you know, and made a statement. You know, everyone who has the mic and has the platform doesn't do that. And for that, I'll commend Megan Thee Stallion. I'm interested to see, what comes next with this. And as well, I'm happy to see that Megan Thee Stallion is doing well in her career, and has been able to bounce back from, the controversy and, you know, the violence she's experienced, as well as being able to recover physically from the violence that she has experienced as well. So, hats off to Megan Thee Stallion for that as well. But that's what I've got to say about this. So what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.